Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason, and I'm a firefighter with the St. Paul Fire Department. I'm glad to be here today to discuss with you the powers of fire and water, both the good and the bad. Both fire and water are powerful and essential elements, not only for human civilization, but for all life on Earth. Humans cannot live without fire or water. They are both absolutely necessary in their own unique ways. However, it's possible to have too much of a good thing, and both fire and water have the capacity for enormous and catastrophic destructive power. Which one has the power to be more destructive? Well, we'll examine that next. But first, I'd like to talk to you about how the human civilization depends on both fire and water for its survival, and how they can be both powerful forces of good. The human body, for example, is 70% water, and while human beings can survive for weeks without food in the desert, we could only last a few days without water. In nature, it was Earth's vast oceans that first supported life, and now we rely on them for abundance of fish and seafood. And rivers feed the forests and crops that sustain all life on Earth, including human beings. In the Minnesota Valley, farming is particularly important to livelihood and our economy. The global economy depends on shipping that by large travels on the oceans. Human beings rely on large ships and the ocean currents to travel our goods from place to place. We rely on large dams for hydroelectric electricity, like this footage of the Hoover Dam, where you can see some of the trapped potential power in water. Fire can also be our friend. When early humans discovered fire, it transformed civilization. Humans could cook their food and warm their shelters in winter. This simple tool allowed the expansion of civilization to all corners of the earth. Now, starting a cooking fire in our homes is as easy as turning on the gas stove. And who doesn't love sitting by a nice warm fireplace during a cold winter day? Fire allows us an easy way to heat our homes. Fire is also an essential part of heavy manufacturing, such as making steel and other metals that the global economy and industry depends on. Nature has a use for fire. Natural wildfires eliminate waste and debris and actually purify and fertilize forests for periods of regrowth.
But is there a downside? Is there a cost to the fantastic things that fire and water can offer us? Well, it turns out that there is. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, like when you have too much Halloween candy and your stomach feels sick, or when you spend too much time in the swimming pool and your hands get all wrinkly and gross. Too much fire or too much water can be very destructive. So which one can be more destructive? I'll let you decide. Let's take a look at each one of these in turn and see what kind of trouble they can really cause.
House fires and structure fires cause incredible damage for families and neighborhoods. Accidentally set fires in homes can be horrible tragedies. To save lives and property during a fire, people call the fire department for help. And when we arrive, what do? We use water. Lots and lots of water. Water is a firefighter's best friend when trying to battle large blazes. We need lots of it to put out a house fire. And the bigger the house fire, the more water we need. Some house fires get too big for the fire department to put out. You can see this house here is already fully involved with fire, and there's not much the fire department would be able to do. Fire on an even larger scale is called a wildfire, like this fire in Southern California in 2006. You see all those little burning buildings down there? Those are individual houses that have been overcome by a wildfire covering several hundred acres. Wildfires ignite by lightning, sometimes careless campers, or any number of reasons. And when they start, They cover large expanses of land. There's not enough water to put one of these fires out. Here's a time-lapse footage of a wildfire, just to give you an idea of how fast they move and how much area they cover. There's not enough water for firefighters to put this type of fire out. They just have to contain it, try and head it off from burning any houses or structures, and let the thing burn itself out. Like I said before, nature has a way of using fire to renew itself.
So that's it. Fire wins, right? Fire's the more damaging? Not so fast. While fires are bad, water can also cause plenty of problems of its own.
The heavy rains and storm surge from large hurricanes and tropical storms can cause tremendous damage. Watch this guy get blasted by water. And as if storms weren't enough, water itself can make its way inland up to 3 miles during some of these storms. Sometimes heavy rains can lead to mudslides. Mudslides can be tremendously devastating as they are thicker and heavier than water. Mudslides can wash away entire neighborhoods. But water, perhaps at its most devastating and most frightening, is during an effect called the tsunami wave. Tsunamis are caused by earthquakes like the one off of Sendai in Japan in March of 2011. These gigantic waves of water come crashing ashore with tremendous velocity and absolutely will not stop. These volumes of water crush and maim everything in their path, and they keep coming for hours. What you're looking at here is a seawall built to protect this town against a tsunami. It was and is the tallest seawall of its kind in the world, and it is easily overwhelmed by this huge tsunami. Looking at this footage, you can see the destruction of this particular event. The tsunami in March of 2011 claimed over 50,000 lives in Japan and cost the country billions of dollars. Although rare, they are terrifying.
So water wins, right? Water's clearly more devastating. Did you see that tsunami? Well, which happens more often, tsunamis or wildfires? Which ones are bigger, tidal waves or house fires? These are very difficult questions. Certainly water and fire both can cause humanity big problems. But they're also things that we absolutely rely on for our daily lives. So, fire, water, water, fire. Which one's more destructive? I'll let you decide. Thanks for having me in your classroom today. I hope you've enjoyed it.